Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. Thank you so much for joining us and welcome into another great edition as we get things kicked off here with, we have a great show lined up for you where we have in the first part of the show, we have a company on called Decluttr. We have a couple of gentlemen here to discuss, something that I think everyone has dealt with at some point in their lives. That's, either you have media, you have old technology, you have just stuff that piles up, stuff that is, still decent, still good, and, so you can't just throw it away. But at the same time, you just don't find yourself using it anymore. Well, we have Mr. Liam Howley and James Bell here with us to talk about, how you can turn that into the almighty dollar. It's a great service. And yeah, we're going to talk to them in just a moment. And then in the second part of the show, if we have time, we are of course going to do computer and technology news. And that's when we go over every topic under the sun that we can get our hands on, including, by the way, everyone, there's an Internet Day of Protest coming up. You should definitely know about that because, big news, Netflix just signed on and they're only about half of the TV industry at this point. So if you're wondering why, sometime in July, Netflix is no longer available, Internet Day of Protest will let you know all about it. And a couple more that we will, of course, share with you. Full show notes, by the way, over at computeramerica.com, where you can find links to our guest website. You can find links to any articles that we do. You can find links to any videos that we show. Just all of that, right there over on our website. Also, while you're there, be sure to check out the, of course, podcasts and, of course, the live show all over the radio stations. But we also offer an option to watch Computer America, not just listen. That's right, we have a live stream and very proud of it. Go check it out, again, over at our website. And then the last thing is, of course, our social media contest, where you can sign up and enter to win a prize from Logitech. It's a great M720 triathlon mouse. One battery lasted 2 years, can control up to 3 different devices at the same time. It's a very cool mouse, and happy to give that away. And once again, thank you, Logitech. So I think with all of that out of the way, we're just going to jump right into this because, this looks like a very timely solution to a problem that I know I personally have run into, quite often. And I think a lot of you out there will as well. So help me welcome onto the show once again, Decluttr. That's Decluttr with no E at the end. So yeah, Clutter, Cluttr, no E. And we have with us Liam Howley and James Bell, who are the Chief Marketing Officer and the Marketing Manager at Decluttr, respectively. So, Liam, James, welcome on to the Computer America Show.
Hey, Ben, thanks for having us.
Right, yeah, and yeah, so this is going to get a little confusing. I apologize, but two people at the same time, it is what it is. I'll try to direct my questions, but hey, this will be fun. So I think we'll start with you, Liam, and of course, James, at the end, if you have anything to add. For anyone out there, obviously, we just gave the website, but maybe someone who hasn't heard of Decluttr, what exactly is Decluttr?
Yeah, it's a great place to start. So like, as you say, Ben, it's Decluttr. So DECLUTTR.com. That's where you'll find us. Mm-hmm. And basically Decluttr is a fast, free and easy way for consumers to turn their clutter into cash, essentially. So we buy CDs, DVDs, video games, Blu-rays, books, cell phones and other tech items like consoles, tablets, Kindles, and some more. So it's basically a one-stop shop for selling your stuff. And we've been called the lazy man's eBay, essentially. So There's no auctions. There's free shipping. There's no seller fees. There's no PayPal fees. There's no taking hundreds of photographs. What you do is you hop on our website or you download our free apps and you can enter your items. We will give you an instant price for each of those items. Once you've finished entering all of those items, customers typically sell about 60 items on average.
Wow.
We'll give you a price. We'll then send you some free shipping labels. You can stick all your items into any box, and trust me, we get literally every box going, whether it be beer boxes, diaper boxes, you name it. People will put all their stuff into a box, attach the free shipping label that we send to you. You then send your items to us via UPS. We'll receive those items into our warehouse, and then we'll pay you the very next day after we've received those items via PayPal, direct deposit, or good old-fashioned check.
Very, very well said, and great overview. And I'm sure that a lot of the boxes that you get, by the way, are Amazon, because I think they're the largest manufacturer of cardboard boxes on the planet right now. But
Sure.
it sounds like a very good idea, because there have been tools to sell your old stuff, or even just sell stuff in general. It doesn't even have to be old. I mean, it could be new tech or what have you. But there have been tools, like you said, eBay and things like that. But you seem to really be trying to take out the price points. I'm going to ask kind of James here. Who start? Like, can you give us a little bit of background? Because obviously, taking out the pain points out of things like eBay is great, but who kind of came up with this? When did the company start, and how?
Okay, so we've been around since 2014, so we're relatively young, but the business was born out of the idea that everybody has clutter in their homes. We actually started in the UK through Music Magpie, which is coming up to 10 years old now. So we've been around quite a while across the globe.
Right. No, makes perfect sense. And so, yeah, it's a great idea. I mean, we've had companies such as Gazelle on the show as well. It's almost the same thing, but they kind of specialize in phones and tablets and electronics. You take all kinds of DVDs, CDs, games, media. What kind of products? What kind of products do you actually take? If you have a list or some kind of overview. And by the way, what kind of happens after them? Because I don't think you're making a giant pile of stuff. Like, you have to be selling this at some point, right?
Yeah. Okay. So, good question in terms of what types of products can be sold. So, we accept tech items. So, most modern cell phones, typically your smartphones, your iPhones, your Samsungs, but also we're accepting Kindles, tablets, and we also pay for games consoles too, including handhelds. And if you're ever in doubt, will Decluttr accept my items? What we generally say is don't hesitate. Just visit the website. Choose the manufacturer. You choose the model. Tell us the item condition, and we literally give you an instant price. Unlike eBay, as Liam said, you're not having to take hundreds of photos or write listings. But also, we're accepting media items, so CDs, DVDs, Blu-rays, games. Generally, if it's got a barcode on the back, the likelihood is we'll accept it, and you can scan in your items using our free app with a barcode scanner. So generally what we say is, if your kids no longer watch those Disney DVDs, or your husband's 90s CD collection just has to go, just download the app and give us a try.
Very, very well said. And I guess, Liam, when people send things in, and obviously free shipping, that's great. You don't have to worry about sending it to and fro. I mean, what do you do with the products after you take them in? I mean, is there a retail side to this, or do you partner with someone else to kind of handle your intake?
Sure, Ben. So the items will come into the warehouse in Atlanta, and we will then process those goods, and then we will refurb them, and then we'll resell them. So traditionally, we have sold on the marketplaces, so eBay and Amazon. And we're actually the largest third-party seller in the world on both of those platforms. So we recently got flown to eBay's head office, and presented with an award for the first business to hit 5 million positive customer feedbacks, which was a great honour for the business. So across the UK and the US, we're selling a huge amount of items on eBay and Amazon.
Very,
But
very cool.
recently we've launched Decluttr Store. So if you head over to decluttr.com now, you'll be given the choice to whether you want to sell items or, in fact, buy items from us. So we're listing a huge range of refurbished tech currently. We'll be adding the media to the site within the next couple of months. And it's a great way for customers to access good as new products at a fraction of the price. So our refurbished tech comes with a 12-month warranty. So it's as good as new. It's gone through a rigorous testing program at our warehouse and processing center to make sure that it's good as new, and will go out. And our kind of strap line in the UK and the US is why wouldn't you? And if you can access as good as new phone for a fraction of the price, you're not tied into a long contract with the carriers, and you just get a bit of flexibility back. So we're finding this is hugely popular, and consumers are enjoying taking back the control essentially.
Right, and I guess the maybe take. And by the way, if you're watching the video portion, we have your website up. We're kind of poking around, but if we could take a step back and I guess ask the very important question. You have mentioned things like eBay. You've met as seedy as I think Craigslist gets sometimes. Trust me, I've bought things off Craigslist. It's a harrowing event every single time. Why would a consumer, and this is for James or Liam, why would a consumer decide to use Decluttr instead of selling it for themselves? Because obviously you take out the middleman, and you obviously you increase your the money that you get. But what are your kind of value propositions for using Decluttr?
Yeah, sure. I guess you're exactly right. If you're going to sell it direct, you are potentially going to earn money. But for all those reasons you've mentioned, it can be quite a harrowing experience. As we touched on earlier, our customers are selling us around about 60 items per order, but up to a maximum of 500. And if you can imagine dealing with, even if you take the average order, if you take 60 items, imagine dealing with 60 different customers potentially of you selling your items to those individually. It can be very time consuming. It can be multiple trips to the post office, and you can get multiple returns. I guess we take all the hassle out of that transaction. Like we say, the service is completely free. We even pay the shipping. You can box all your items up. You can whiz around your house scanning all your different items, your books in one room, your DVDs in one room, your CDs from another shelf, those old cell phones in one drawer, add them all into one box, and then ship it to us for free. So that's one of the reasons, and I guess that's one of the reasons why we've been called the lazy man's eBay. But also, I guess when you're comparing us to someone like Gazelle, we kind of say, look, we buy more, we pay more, and we pay faster. So we buy more, we buy what Gazelle are buying in terms of the cell phones and other tech, but we're also buying the media items. We pay more, we're paying up to 25% more than Gazelle or across virtually every line. And we pay faster, so we're paying the next day after we receive those items into our warehouse. So there's three kind of big reasons there why a customer would choose to use us. And I guess the price especially is a big one. Customers can choose to sell their items back to the carrier, or think like services through Apple's buyback schemes. But again, we're paying up to 40% more than those guys. So cash is important, and we're looking to give customers the best possible offer for their old tech and cell phones.
Right. It's sounding like a great product, and again, we're going to get into some of the more nitty-gritty details in a moment. But just maybe for anyone listening out there, I mean, I'm not saying that VHS tapes are going to be a gold mine, a treasure trove that you have sitting around, but what are some of the more valuable products that maybe Decluttr will buy back from you? Obviously, very recent phones and tablets will take top honors, but maybe someone, what are some of the more valuable products that someone could be sitting on saying, oh, well, I was just waiting for that to get ancient and useless? I mean, right. So what are some of the more expensive buybacks that you do?
Yeah, so like you say, the newer tech is always obviously going to be the most valuable items. That's for sure. I guess video games are always again the kind of more valuable products. Box sets, newer Blu-rays, and then certain things within the collection that you might not expect. So certain rarer titles on CD, especially, can be rather valuable. So it's like James says, it's a case of kind of sometimes there'll be certain items within your collection you think, oh wow, that I didn't think that would be worth that much. And all the best way to use the service is to download our app. Like James says, it turns the smartphone camera into a barcode scanner, and you can quickly just zap through your whole collection, and you'll be really surprised at some of the prices that come out for certain items that you wouldn't necessarily kind of attribute much value to.
Right, and I see here, obviously, you have, like we mentioned, sell media, so CDs, DVDs, games, books, things like that. You also have tech. Tech is a very broad term. Now, we've discussed phones, we've discussed tablets. Do you take, full-blown computers, or, tech is simply mobile devices at this point?
Sure. So in the UK, we take laptops and MacBooks, and we will be extending that out into the US shortly. We take all sorts of games consoles. We take all sorts of tablets and e-readers. We take certain wearables like the Apple Watches. We'll be moving into kind of the VR headsets, etc. So it's an ever-evolving range, essentially, Ben. So as James says, most of the items are listed on our website, but we're always open to customers emailing us and finding out, look, do you accept this? And we'll sometimes come back with an offer and say, yeah, hey, look, great idea, we'll definitely take that, here's a price, and see if you want to sell it.
Right. So, and James, I'll levy this next one at you. Obviously, when you deal with, you mentioned 60 different products per customer, and you, I'm sure, get a lot of customers, obviously, who are looking to expand and grow, but customer support is going to be huge on this one. How has how do you have any kind of rating system, like how you guys are doing with customers, and how big of an emphasis do you put on customer relations?
Yeah, customer support is incredibly important for us, especially with people selling their tech to us. We want to make sure that they're happy with the price that they've been given and the service that they're receiving as well. So we're actually rated 9.2 out of 10 on Trustpilot, and we've got over 2,300 reviews, and these are impartial reviews from customers that have experienced Decluttr. So, we do put a lot of emphasis on that, and that's why you'll see it splashed all over the website.
Very, very well said. So, and I'm sure there's, places that you can contact for live support and things like that. So, all right. And so getting back to, Decluttr, you have here, what types of bargains can consumers get via Decluttr? Obviously, I think this, kind of refers to the buying portion, but yeah, what is kind of the buying proposition for Decluttr? Obviously, you're getting them in for less, so refurbished 12-month refund period, that's great. But is it kind of like, buy from Apple or buy from us? It's the same price, but we offer 12 months, or do people get discounts on the other end as well?
Yeah, sure. So we'll run certain promotions in terms of when we're selling items back to the customers. But what we're priced competitively, so we will be market leaders in terms of those refurbished iPhones as well. So if you hop onto our site, you're going to be very hard pressed to find cheaper refurbished iPhones on the web. So that's kind of been a key kind of, I guess, a strategic aim for us, in terms of trying to grow the brand and trying to grow the service in the States. We're priced very competitively to ensure that our customers are happy with the offer, are happy with the product, and come back to us time and time again, but also tell, their friends and family, look, you don't need to get tied down to a 2-year contract. You can pick up a refurbished phone from Decluttr, and you're free to go and free to kind of move between certain contracts, and it gives you that freedom, I guess.
Very well said. And I see here you do have Sell My BlackBerry, so you do take a different kind of phone other than the Apples and the Samsung of the world. You do have a number of different phones up there. But that does lead into the next question, because I'm currently in the process of fixing up a couple phones because of exactly this reason. I have a couple phones with shattered screens. I have a couple phones with broken microphones, things like that. How do you handle items in varying conditions? Do you offer less, or do you just flat out deny to intake them?
No, so what we'll do, Ben, on the website, when you go to sell your cell phone, we'll give you 3 options essentially. So good, poor, and faulty. There'll be criteria for each, and the customer will select one of the chosen conditions, and we'll give differing prices based upon the condition of the item. So what happens then is the customer will send their item into the warehouse. We'll then put it through our quality assessment, and it goes through rigorous kind of checks to make sure that everything's working, so that when we do sell it, it's in the condition that we say it is. And if we find out that, say for example, you've sold it as good, but it's actually, say, poor because it could be water damage. We get certain items, and I listen to my phone, I listen to the music when I'm in the shower, and the condensation can trigger a sensor within the phone that actually says it's water damage. So for all intents and purposes, it appears to be working absolutely fine, but there will be a sensor on that actually says indicates it's water damage. Now, what would then happen in that instance? We'd then contact the customer and say, look what we found out, it's got water damage, or there's cracks on the screen, etc. That means it's poor. This is your revised offer price. The customer will then have the choice to make whether they accept the new offer price, and if they don't, then we send the item back for free. So it's kind of a no lose situation there, and we're trying to we try and be as fair as possible in that. And I think I know our customers really appreciate that.
Right. Yeah, and I'm sure using services such as PayPal, I mean, it makes the whole thing really easy, really secure. Obviously you offer a variety of payment methods, so that's great. All right, and I mean, I'm totally expecting sometime this year there's going to be a new iPhone. I mean, we've seen hints of it. We've seen all the great new tech, and that's usually a big big point in a lot of people, that they sell their old cell phones, they get rid of their old cell phones, and on a pretty regular 2-year basis, they upgrade to the next one. What happens to the previous generation's iPhones? Like, does the price drop dramatically? Should people sell or buy beforehand? I mean, what kind of happens to the price of your products when a new product launches?
Yeah, good point, Ben. As you've just indicated, all tech will devalue over time, and never is going to be the case that tech will appreciate. So the market values of the latest tech generally will nosedive around the release of the replacement. So the example you gave, the iPhone 7, if you look at the value over the last year, it's generally held quite strong versus other manufacturers. But you can bet as soon as the iPhone 8 or iPhone 10 or whatever they're going to call it is released, you're going to see a huge surge of iPhone 7s traded in. And it's at those points where there's a big increase in supply that we're going to see the price dropping. But our general advice is, whatever time of year it is, don't hold on to your tech. The best prices for your tech are always going to be now. So what we say is, if you're not using the tech, sell it. We've all got a spare cell phone lying around the house, just waiting for our current cell phone to die, which it never does anymore because they're so smart. But the reality is, you're never going to use them again. So it's best to sell, as soon as you upgrade, to make sure you're maximizing the value.
No, very, very well said. And I'm sure that, you have seen at least a little bit of an uptick. Of course, it's not out yet, but the Xbox One X was just announced. So maybe you've seen a bit of an uptick for people selling their old Xbox Ones in preparation for that. But I mean, yeah, it like you said, tech, unless you have a collector's item, something very rare, tech never appreciates. It always goes down in value. And very, very well said. So, and you kind of touched on it lately. I mean, we've talked about Gazelle, we've talked about eBay, Amazon. Obviously, you guys are, as you said, the largest third-party seller on those websites for these products. But how big of a market is the secondhand tech industry? Because obviously, being on Computer America and dealing with a lot of these companies firsthand, they'll have you all think that people only buy from them and people only buy new shiny things. But how big of a market is it to sell products and to buy used products?
Sure. So I guess looking at the smartphone market alone, one of the recent reports that we've read is the used smartphone market in the US alone is a $12 billion market, with 180 million smartphones traded in. Once you're throwing in tablets and games consoles into the mix, there's a huge market there. That's just the tech. In terms of media, there's billions and billions of items of media in the United States. If you just picture your own CD, DVD, video game collection, book collection, we're all sat on a huge amount. So they're both massive markets. And I guess, as to your point in terms of the 2-year upgrade cycle, this is kind of becoming more and more threatened, I guess, as the refurbished market takes hold. People don't necessarily have to get stuck into the 2-year upgrade cycle. They may have the 6 now as a refurbished. They can trade that in for the 7. They can trade the 7 in for the 8 or the X, as it may be known, when it's released in September. So it's a huge market, Ben, and it's only going to get bigger.
Very, very true. And so talk to us a bit about kind of Liam or James, take your pick, but talk us through selling an item, like let's say an old Xbox console, an old Xbox One. Take us through, downloading the app, sending it off, getting paid. How does the transaction actually look like?
Sure. So, well, 2 ways, Ben. First way is on our website. So if you're entering a media item, all you do is enter the barcode and click Get Price, and we will do just that. You can do that with all your media items. For tech, you simply start typing, and our smart search will then provide you with a list of kind of options or some search criteria, and we'll find your item. And again, you then select your condition of good, poor, or faulty, and we'll give you an instant price. Once you've added all your media and tech items into your basket, simply click Complete Order. You'll then choose how you wish to get paid. Then you'll complete the order on the website. We will then email you your welcome pack with the free shipping labels. Stick all the items into any box, as we've mentioned, attach the free shipping label, send it off for free via UPS, and then it will come straight to our warehouse in Atlanta. So that's the first way of doing it. The second way is via our apps. So we have a free smartphone app for both iPhone and Android. And this makes the transaction slightly easier, especially for media. So as I alluded to earlier, the apps turn your smartphone camera into a barcode scanner. So you simply line up the barcode within the frame of your camera. It scans it and gives you an instant price. So it's a quicker and easier way to scan through big media collections.
And Liam, James, I hate to stop you right there, but I think we kind of got the picture on how to sell it. I'm just about out of time. We're about to head off to break here in about 30 seconds. Liam, James, I want to thank you so much for coming on Computer America. One more time, if people want to find out more information or give Decluttr a try, where can they go?
So head over to decluttr.com or download our free smartphone apps from either of the Play stores and start selling your items today.
Very, very well said. And so, one last time, Liam, James, thank you so much for joining us here. It was a pleasure to have you. And honestly, this service, I think at some point, everyone is going to need something just like it. So, with that being said, thank you so much, and please come back on to Computer America when you have something else to announce. Thank you, guys.
Brilliant. Thanks for having us, Ben.
All right, have a good one. Bye-bye. And everyone else out there, thank you so much for tuning in to Computer America. We'll be right back after these messages, and we'll have computer and technology news right after this. So stay tuned for more here on Computer America.
We are all Brother Wolf. 10 years ago, a group of locals banded together to create positive change. We took animals into our homes, held adoption events at local retailers, and talked to the community about our mission to help build a no-kill Asheville. A decade later, we have achieved so many victories for animals in need. There's been so much progress, yet there's still so much to do. As part of our year-long celebration, we encourage you to become a member of our special Compassionate Circle program. With a monthly donation of $10 or more, you will have behind-the-scenes access to the work we are doing at Brother Wolf. Our goal is to reach 1,000 members because we receive no government funding. Working together, we can help build and sustain no-kill communities. Learn more at compassionatecircle.bwar.org. We are a 501c3 tax-deductible organization.
And welcome back to the Computer America Show. It is 31 minutes past the hour as we continue on here. And just signed off with Liam Howley and James Bell of Decluttr. It was a great segment. If you missed any part of it, please head on over to computeramerica.com, and we will, of course, have video and audio archives so that you can listen to it. Again, Decluttr, a service for sending off, getting rid of, selling easily all of your old media, all of your old tech. You know, they seem to make it pretty hassle-free, and they seem to have a pretty good grasp on what the pain points are and try to take that out of it for selling old technology. So there you have it. Again, check it out, computeramerica.com. But we are now going to head on over. We're going to head on over to computer and technology news. So we have a couple of stories. We, of course, are going to get a lot more. But for now, we have some very important things to go over. So here we go. Computer and technology news brought to you by Computer America. All right. So I think a good place to start would be in this one specifically. This is, not that one. All right, so this one is going to be about, well, Fight for the Future. And Fight for the Future, it's a website. It's actually a coalition of companies that are looking to kind of jumpstart the idea of protesting net neutrality. Obviously, the FCC, we've been following that for a little while now. The new head of the FCC, Ajit Pai, is very determined to roll back regulations in terms of free and open internet, net neutrality as we know it. The idea that the internet, no matter what service, no matter what you're watching, who you're watching, where you're watching it, it doesn't matter. They should all be handled equally. And when you do away with these regulations, when you say that these are no longer useful, well, you end up in territory that is kind of like the cable industry, where you would pay extra for maybe streaming video, because streaming video does take a lot of bandwidth, and that should be charged more under this new regulation, even though there's no reason for it other than, well, let's face it, money. Or maybe content providers pay exorbitant fees so that they can get their so they can get their services exclusive with a certain provider. So let's say you have Comcast and, Hulu has paid exorbitant fees. You are not allowed to watch anything other than their partner Hulu on their network. These are the kinds of things that are possible when it comes to doing away with net neutrality. And the internet today, really the success and the proliferation of services, of information, have really thrived under the idea that regardless of what you view, regardless of how you view it, whatever, no matter what information, whether it's objectionable by the government or what have you, it's all handled equally. So it's a pretty good idea. And here we have this website. It's called fightforthefuture.org. We've actually signed up for it as well, but just a heads up, there will be a day of protest. That's right. So the day of protest, that actually comes into play. Let's see if we can find the exact day. But there's a lot of different people who have signed on to this project. You can go check out more, fightforthefuture.org. And they have, they said that they're a nonprofit organization founded in 2011, whose mission is to ensure that the web continues to hold freedom of expression and creativity at its core. We seek to expand the internet's transformative powers for good, to preserve and enhance its capacity to enrich and empower, saying that we envision a world where everyone can access the internet affordably, free of interference or censorship, with full privacy. This, of course, came to fruition after SOPA, PIPA, long-term bills that were since shot down, and you also have, game-changing passage of net neutrality, and they supported really the net neutrality of the last administration. So they said that our Reset the Net campaign organized around protecting the privacy of hundreds of millions of internet users. So with that being said, I mean, there are a number of different, let's see, let's find, the day of internet protests, do a little bit of Google searching here, and we had one similar to this. This is not, here we go, July 12th, that's the actual day. But we had one similar to this. If you remember all the way back, September 10th, 2014, there was an internet traffic slowdown where everyone purposely throttled their internet speed as if to replicate the idea of internet fast lanes that happened back in 2014. It got a lot of traction. It got a lot of people's attention, and there will be a new one. And this coming to us from, and by the way, and this new one, on July 12th, the internet will come together to, to stop legislation such as this. So here we have a giant protest set for July 12th, and you have websites such as, check this out, these are everyone who will participate, well, not even everyone, but a lot of them. You have, kind of amazingly large companies such as Netflix, Amazon, Kickstarter, Etsy, Reddit, things like that. All of them will be shutting down for an hour or even the full day on July 12th in, trying to get attention for this cause. You also have smaller websites such as chess.com or, Greenpeace or, The Nation, MoveOn.org, Credo, OkCupid. Some adult video sites have indeed signed on, Patreon. I mean, these are some of the top 100 websites and organizations, and they will all be shutting down for a period of time on, that's right, July 12th. So keep an eye out for that. I really wanted to bring that up because it will be affecting you, because odds are you use one of those services on the daily. So that's why, and if you don't know why, guaranteed you'll find out about it on July 12th. There you have it. Okay, so now we are going to head on over to, all right, how about this next one? This next one, it gets, it's a little silly because there's new legislation that's coming to us actually, in the not so viewer friendly pages of congress.gov, and one of their bills, this is this is one of their bills that they're trying to legislate, that they're trying to push through. This is S1241, and it's to improve the prohibitions on money laundering and for other purposes. So, sounds great. You definitely don't want people laundering money. Money laundering is a bad thing. It's a felony. It's a crime. Should be punished. But here we have it. Section 13, in complete defiance of what digital currency, cryptocurrency, is about, they have tried to insert legislation that, and anyone who uses cryptocurrency, and we've talked about the service before, well, they're trying to make it so that you are compelled, just like any other asset, you are compelled to disclose any cryptocurrencies that you have access to. That's right. And they're saying that they have to report any cryptocurrency that you have access to, and if not, then they're going to come after you. Of course, the big thing here is that is a complete slap in the face to the idea of cryptocurrency, in that you can't track it. You know, it's preserving your privacy by giving you a code that, of course, can be checked against the blockchain. And you can't track each individual dollar, but you can at least verify that it is in fact authentic. And I know that there are more laborious, ways to kind of track which wallets a cryptocurrency went into, but of course, a cryptocurrency wallet is a pretty easy thing to make a new one. It's not the hardest thing in the world. So for them saying that you have to clearly identify, disclose, and claim any cryptocurrencies that you have access to, they're essentially saying that you have to tie this cryptocurrency to this person at this time, which is, again, pretty much impossible to prove. It kind of goes to show that the idea of cryptocurrency, it's on their radar, it's on lawmakers' radar as a product that needs more attention, that will obviously get more attention, but at the same time, it's a product that not a lot of people, I think, on Capitol Hill really know that much about. Because if they did, this kind of legislation where, they said that they have some terms in here, and that prepaid access devices, digital currencies, or other similar instruments, and that not later than 18 months after the date of the enactment of this act, they shall submit to Congress a report on, detailing a strategy to interdict and detect prepaid services such as digital currencies or other similar instruments, or at border crossings and other ports of entry in the United States. Again, you can't track this, you can't prove it, and by all means, unless you take the devices, you find the wallet that it's stored on, you aren't even going to know who even owns the wallet. So the absurdity of this, and it's making the rounds on a lot of cryptocurrency services out there, but the idea that you have to disclose, claim, and announce which cryptocurrencies that you own is preposterous. So, way to go, Congress. Way to go. All right, let's get away from government bashing, because that is so easy to do, so much fun. But at the same time, let's do, how about this one? This one is a little bit more weird, a little bit more out there. And this is coming to us from The Atlantic. This is a different kind of article because we've been talking about artificial intelligence. It's a great tool. It's a tool that we obviously will be seeing more of, but it's a tool that is developing all the time and really at such a fast pace. I mean, really, this was a technology that maybe 4 years ago, no one had heard anything of. And then one day it just kind of sprang up in our lexicon. It became more robust. And now, according to this article from, again, The Atlantic, we have an artificial intelligence that has developed its own non-human language. They're talking. That's right. Scary. So, when Facebook designed chatbots to negotiate with one another, the bots made up their own way of communicating. And odds are, probably not with emojis. So, here we go. And they say that a buried line in new Facebook report about chatbots' conversations with one another offers a remarkable glimpse at the future of language, saying that in the report, researchers at the Facebook Artificial Intelligence Research Lab, big word there, described using machine learning to train their dialogue agents to negotiate. And by the way, dialogue agents, of course, mean chatbot. And they said at one point, the researchers right, they had to tweak one of their models because otherwise bot-to-bot conversation led to divergence from human language as the agents developed their own language for negotiating. That's pretty weird. And I'm pretty sure how Terminator started. So they had to use what's called a fixed supervised model instead. In other words, the model that allowed two bots to have a conversation and use machine learning to constantly iterate strategies for that conversation along the way led to those bots communicating in their own non-human language. If this doesn't fill your sense of wonder with awe about the future of machines and humanity, then, of course, go watch Blade Runner or something, as the article points out. But it is exciting. It is strange, in a way, that we've created machines that are supposed to be designed to talk to humans better, but when they had to talk to one another, they said, forget that. We have a more efficient, better way, and it led to humans saying, well, that's cool, or at least it led Facebook to say, that's cool, but at the same time, useless, because humans at some point have to be worked back into the equation. And you can't just let them, talk in their own language, because then it's useless to everyone else that isn't an artificial intelligence. So, they said that the larger point of the report is that bots can be pretty decent negotiators, and that they even use strategies like feigning interest in something valueless so that it can later appear to compromise by conceding it. But the details about language, as one tech entrepreneur put it, a mind-boggling sign of what's to come. And it could be. It could be. So to be clear, Facebook's chatty bots aren't evidence of the singularity's arrival, not even close. But they do demonstrate how machines are redefining humans' understanding of so many realms once believed to be exclusive to humans, such as language. Yeah, and we saw this with things like, again, one of my favorite, AlphaGo, Deep Blue, or just Google's artificial intelligence. When it started playing Go, which had been played for hundreds of years in the same style, people spent decades upon decades studying this game. And when AlphaGo burst onto the scene and started beating people, it was using a technique that many consider to be, not advantageous, to be, kind of reckless, to be really, almost the wrong way to play Go. But after it beat X amount of people, and they started to study the way that the artificial intelligence was playing the game, they determined that it wasn't reckless, or it wasn't this. It was just a different way to think about it that hundreds of years of human understanding really didn't put together. And they determined that it was actually a better way. Something that we've, that is the idea of artificial intelligence. It will find ways to do things better than humans ever could. So here we go. To wrap up this article, they're saying that there's a good deal of guesswork involved in machine learning research, which often involves feeding a neural net a huge pile of data, then examining the output to try to understand how the machine thinks. But the fact that machines will make up their own languages in their own non-human ways is an astonishing reminder of how little we know, even when people are the ones designing the systems, and that there remains much potential for future work, and particularly in exploring other reasoning strategies and in improving the diversity of utterances without diverging from human language. I just think that article is one of the most fascinating looks into into the future of technology, because that is definitely the future, is, artificial intelligence. So, all right, let's move on to some different articles here. Let's see. How about this one? All right, so we're gonna head on back to a little bit of computer gaming, and this is exciting because Destiny 2, it's the next game that I'm really, really, really looking forward to. Unfortunately for PC, it's coming out a little bit later, but at the same time, Destiny 2, we talked about it a little bit on Tuesday with Darius Derek-Shani, but some good news, saying that Destiny 2 on PC is nothing like the first game, saying that it's a completely new experience in 4K and 60 FPS. So, Destiny, like Bungie's Halo before it, was a relatively slow-paced shooter, and that was ideal for console controllers, but it wouldn't have translated well to PCs, where gamers expect everything to move much faster. I don't know about that, but hey, it's a start. So now that Destiny 2 is finally bringing the series to PCs on October 24th, crazy late by the way, but hey, at least it's happening. The author couldn't help but wonder how Bungie would adapt it for mouse and keyboard play. Would it retain the slow and methodical pacing that we're used to, or would Bungie ramp it up? And after spending some quality time with the PC version at E3, he can attest it's much speedier, more intense experience. And that's partially, by the way, due to some gameplay improvements, where switching between weapons and reloading feels a lot quicker than before, as well as the fact that he was playing the game at 4K at a silky smooth 60 frames a second. Not bad. Not great, 144, again, the goal, but 60 frames. Pretty good. So, they said that the frame rate bump alone makes the entire experience feel more immediate, as there's less of a lag between your inputting and how the game responds. And they even have a clip up that we'll, again, include in the show notes. So, he said that he played countless hours of the original game on Xbox One, as did I, but Destiny 2 feels fundamentally different with a mouse and keyboard. As you'd expect, looking around and targeting enemies is much faster than with the controller, and that PC gamers might even find it a bit too easy at first, as it's not that tough to blow away Destiny 2's slower enemies if you have fast mousing reflexes. But the game's combat also feels a bit more involved than before, because you now unleash a powerful melee attack in addition to the charged up super moves from before. This is Destiny 2 speak for it's going to be awesome. So they're saying that in addition, of course, Destiny 2 looks incredible at 4K and at 60 frames per second, and that every aspect of the world was rendered perfectly with no signs of jaggy edges or blurry textures, and at times, the sheer amount of luscious imagery and visual effects made it seem like Bungie is showing off. And saying that the game looks significantly better than the console version at 1440p or above at 60 frames a second. And if you're one of the lucky owners of an ultra-wide monitor, you'll be able to enjoy it at a native 21:9 resolution. Very, very cool. So, well, I only had about 15 minutes, and again, this speaking as the author, he's already eager to make it my primary platform for the game. So, PC Destiny 2 sounds like a match made in heaven. So, let's see, what else? Yeah, that's about it. More news out of E3. And the good news that I guess we can hear is that Destiny 2 is looking slick as heck. That's what we like to see. So, let's see. All right, we have time for maybe one or two more articles. How about this one? I think companies at some point kind of expect if they can make it easy to pay them, then you'll pay them more often. And so was the case with Subway. And by the way, I am craving a Subway in the worst way. But regardless, Subway, not paid by them. If they want to sponsor the show, go for it. But they have or at least they have a new plan, and they have a new plan of attack. This coming from Engadget, Mr. Andrew Tarantola, and Subway. They hope that touchscreens will bust up its sales slump. Yeah. So it couldn't be that their bread used to contain the same chemicals as yoga mats. That's why it's so tasty. Who knew? Or it certainly isn't the fact that their high-profile spokesman of 15 years is now serving 15 years in prison. Yeah, remember that. But no, obviously the reason that Subway sales have been in a 3-year slump, one of the worst in the company's history, is that their restaurants aren't sufficiently high-tech. And here's what I was talking about. Where to solve this perceived issue, Subway is introducing a self-serve touchscreen kiosk in the store and rolling out a mobile app similar to what Panera Bread did in 2014. So they're saying that it's really a vision and strategy in how we want to evolve, and that customers are demanding a more complete experience. And by the way, that complete experience, as they call it, also includes a digital menu board and free Wi-Fi at some locations. I mean, I can't argue with the digital menu board. I always do like seeing those, but yeah, I don't know if that's truly their problem. But Subway's woes aren't entirely customer side either, where the company is facing stiff competition from the rest of the food industry, which is nearly universally, that's right, universally, moving towards healthier food options. And although the author does point that the meat monstrosity that is the Carl's Jr. Baby Back Rib Burger, notwithstanding, but a market niche that Subway used to dominate. What's more, many fast food chains are upgrading their technology to offer the exact same things. And I think that's, not to belabor Subway's woes, but I think that's pretty much it. Subway used to be the place you ate when you didn't want to eat poorly. When you want to have a healthy alternative to fast food, but still have the fast food experience, as in cheap, affordable, quick, convenient, all that kind of thing. Subway was at least perceived by most to be the best option. Not so much anymore, as as I said, many are offering healthy alternatives. So whatever the cause, Subway saw a 1.7% drop in U.S. sales last year. And that the third straight year, of course, that they have lost sales. And as a result, the company has already announced that it will be closing hundreds of locations. And according to the research firm, 2017 looks to be more of the same. Subway, one of the safest franchises to own, falling on harder times. There you have it. So, yeah, let's see. We have like a minute left. So, all right, how about this one? Saying that Canada, we have talked about unlocking phones and having phones jailbroken, things like that. In the United States, they're trying to make it illegal. They're trying to make it so that if you buy a phone from a carrier, that phone is from that carrier, and you must purchase the phone from the carrier. Well, Canada is taking a step in the opposite in what we feel to be the right option. And that is that phones, once you buy the phone, it's your phone. You can do whatever you want with it. And the Canadian government
90
has
seconds.
determined that you can unlock your phone, and not only can you unlock it, but carriers must give you the option to unlock your phone without fees. That's right, without fees, and they must do it within a certain time period. So, all right, there you have it. So, Canada, unlock phone fees. We unfortunately don't have time to get into this, but very, very cool. And it lets you take your phone to different carriers
60 seconds.
without paying those different options. So, all right, everyone, we're just about out of time. Thank you so much for tuning in here to Computer America. Thank you for listening. If you have any ideas, or if you'd like to submit stories or submit products or news or anything here, get in touch with us here at Computer America through social media, or of course live at computeramerica.com. Also, be sure to enter a contest over at computeramerica.com brought to you by Logitech. And all that being said, thank you for tuning in to Computer America. Catch you here tomorrow as we talk with, let me get this straight, as we talk with At Games. That's right, At Games, AT Games. So should be a fun one. Everyone, have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye, everyone.
10 seconds.